gender fluidity and new age movements. So idra ಬಗ್ಗೆ we have to talk, and I think ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ರಿಗೂ you have some idea ಇದೇನು movement ಅಂತ. Some of us have captured it maybe when we tracked some social media trends, when we saw few posts, few political agendas being pushed. In the fringes ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ who have seen a pride march? Okay, just one person. Pride march ಅಂದ್ರೆ rainbow flags ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮುಖಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ paint ಹಾಕೊಂಡು they are going on a parade basically. So how many of us have watched it here? Okay, quite a few of us have seen a pride march. How many of you have had to be in an environment where you had to tell your pronouns? Okay, quite a few. Okay, quite a few. Okay, me too actually. And how many of you have followed that taking the knee when the Indian cricket team actually bent down and took the knee, kneeling? How many of you saw that? Okay, just few of you. Okay. So I think I will try to introduce this topic through a series of events which have happened in the West and which have also come here to Bharat. The US national anthem is something that everybody in the US takes pride in. I think it's the case with every national anthem. We take a lot of pride in our national anthem. We give it a lot of respect, and they have these big football leagues in the US. And before these football leagues, there's always the national anthem being played, and everybody stands up, and normally they hire very important celebrities to sing the national anthem. These famous singers are hired. Ee sandarbhadalli one of the famous players, Colin Kaepernick, what he did was, when this national anthem was going on and everybody's standing up with pride, puffed chest, he kneeled down. He took the knee, saying that he is ashamed. That he's ashamed of that very patriotism that everyone's showing here, and that patriotism it kind of shows something that's bad and deracinated in society. So basically he disrespected the national anthem and he took the knee. And immediately 1 week after, Nike, the football, shoe, the sports brand that makes shoes and everything that's got to do with sports, they give him a brand deal immediately 1 week after. And in that entire year, they made billions of dollars based on that entire campaign revolving around that one particular person who took the knee. And that movement catches fire like anything. Everybody starts to take the knee. In fact, Indian cricket team takes the knee without really knowing why they should be taking the knee. We have other human rights problems here. So he claimed to take the knee because the black community is treated badly in the US, and George Floyd, I don't know if you followed that entire thing, he was killed because of police brutality, and it was seen as an act of racism, and that's where the taking the knee started. But what does the Indian cricket team have to do with this? What does the Indian cricket team have to do with taking the knee, or the injustices that the black community is facing in the US? We have a lot more to worry about. We have to worry about the Hindus in Pakistan, Hindus in Bangladesh who are going towards oblivion. What's happening to Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir is something we have to worry about. If they want to take a stand on a political issue, then that's the issue to take a stand on. But they chose to take a stand because it's become woke. It's become acceptable. It's become fashionable. And it's become so fashionable that if you don't do it, then you're left out. And you don't become a part of a global movement that is consistently pumping money into keeping this movement alive. Now comes gender fluidity. What is gender fluidity? I think we all have some kind of an idea about gender fluidity. We might all have heard idu LGBTQ, ivaga LGBTQIA+ agide. So every day there's a new letter being added, and it is so hard to keep up. So ideno aagta ide. What is this entire idea of gender fluidity? So I'll give you an example. There was a girl, there was a man Louisa Thomas. She goes by the name Louisa Thomas now, but she was not Louisa Thomas. She was ranked 554 in the University of Pennsylvania men's swimming team. So she used to swim, he used to, when it was a he used to swim. He was biologically a male. He used to swim and he was ranked 554. Then one summer, he decides to change his gender. So he changes his gender, he comes back to university, he joins the women's swimming team and he ranks 1 in the 500 meter freestyle team. So this is what is happening on American campuses. It is being told that you can choose to be who you want to be and that you can be fluid with who you are and what you are and stuff like that. And in fact, in one of the next competitions, she, who was a he, defeated 3 girls who had represented, the United States in the Olympics and who were students of the University of Pennsylvania. And this is happening and this is somehow considered acceptable. That, that there's a space and this acceptability and all of that is happening. Around the same time, Starbucks in India pushes a ad campaign. Starbucks in India. It is that of a conservative family. So the father, mother and the son, they go to Starbucks. ಆಯ್ತಾ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಬಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾಫಿ ಚೇನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಬಕ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಸ್ಪೆಷಾಲಿಟಿ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಪ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರೆದು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಇಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಟ್ ಆನ್ ಅವರ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ ಅದು ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಲೈಕ್ಸ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದೇರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಆನ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಸ್ಟಮೈಸ್ಡ್ and people used to take photos of that and that's how Starbucks became a whole movement. That was their marketing strategy. So it's a boy, Ankit, and Ankit anta heltare, your coffee is ready. So the father goes and makes it Ankita, and then they all start smiling. The family is happy again. So before it was Ankita, the family was very sad and they were having this kind of a discord, disturbed child and everything, and they make it Ankita and they give it to him. So this has come to Bharat as well. This whole concept of gender fluidity, gender identity, wokeism, it's come to Bharat. And it's come in a way that there is huge monetary advantage to being in this particular bracket. And there is a huge sort of advantage to being in this particular bracket. I would like to add one more thing to New Age movement before I give the other panelists another moment and before I come up with my concluding thoughts. This is just setting the stage. So far so good. Okay, people are identifying as she, her, he, him. So once he wanted to be male and then he thought he's a female and then he changed his gender. It's okay. There are people on campuses actively now identifying as a goat, as a goldfish, as a chair, as a table. So gender fluidity has gone from just being restricted to the 2 biological genders which were existent in our campuses to now being extended to you can identify as anything. There's a very funny story that one of my friends told me about his campus on Harvard. So he used to live in those dormitories, student dormitories, and he had a neighbor. And every night he could hear sounds, of banging. Someone's banging the door. And ರಾತ್ರಿ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು loud sound is coming out of the corridor. And he asks one of his friends who also happens to be a neighbor, ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಪ್ಪ? Then he was like, oh, you don't know? Our neighbor is a goat. If he's a goat, then what is he doing in the dormitories? He should be tied in the, football field and he should be eating grass there. But he chooses to be in this very dormitory and behave like a goat and disturb everybody else's, peace. So identity has become sort of a defining feature future to make so much space that now it starts to infringe upon other people's rights. So that is how it is being pushed as a political agenda from a personal perspective. And you may think, okay, this is something which is going on in American universities or whatever. No, this theory has been theorized and it is being actively pushed in education through various means. It has materialized in the international syllabus for now. So if you go to schools like Oberoi and all of that in Mumbai, you have nursery teachers telling the kids that they can identify as whatever they want to. I met a kid who identifies as a goldfish, as a chair, and as, himself, based on his mood. So when there's an exam, he's a table. So he cannot write and he cannot, give the exam. Not possible. And when he has to be in the, playground, he doesn't like, physical activities. Then it's a goldfish. So he's allowed to sit and just blow bubbles in a corner. And he chooses to be him only when he's given chocolates. And it's a child we are talking about. And the child has been taught that it's okay to victimize the self and attain unfair advantages and to get out of things you're uncomfortable, to get out of, spaces where you actually have to perform to be considered legitimate. To my initial remarks where I told, he took the knee, Colin took the knee, immediately he got a brand deal from Nike. So there's a thing called global market forces. So this is, I think, the easiest term to remember in terms of ಇದು ಏನಿದು economic debate ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ದುಡ್ಡೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ದುಡ್ಡು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಆಚೆ ಈಚೆ. ಸೊ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್. ನೀವು 8th century 10th century ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿದ್ದು ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಡಾಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಭಾರತ್, ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ಲಿ ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಬೈ ಚೈನಾ. ಸೊ ವಿ ವರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆಲ್. ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ತುಂಬ ಇಂಡಿಜಿನಸ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ವಿ ಡಿಂಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ಸುಪೀರಿಯಾರಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಟು ಸಬ್ಜುಗೇಟ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ or to get some unfair advantage. That entire society was based on meritocracy. ನಾನು ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ನಾವು ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡುವ, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವ, and we will go ahead. And that came from our philosophy towards life. There are two philosophies which are very predominant in our world right now. One looks outward. One thinks we are here to enjoy everything that is on earth for our benefit. ನಾವು ಬಂದದ್ದೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ. That's the essence of consumerism, capital, all of that we've been talking, that we've been here to just enjoy everything and that we have rights to enjoy everything. Innondu world view ಏನಂದ್ರೆ we are here to serve, we are here to, for a higher cause, that spiritual sense which the indigenous people had, which Bharat, in those days, ancient China, people with heavy, rooted civilizations, they had it. ಆನಂತರ ಇದು ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಒಂದು ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಬಂತು. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏಬ್ರಹಾಮಿಕ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಅಂತ ಸಹ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅವರ ಕ್ರುಸೇಡ್ಸ್ ನಡೀತು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೆನ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದೋಸ್ ಕ್ರುಸೇಡ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್, ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ forcefully taking something for own benefit, because remember, the philosophy is that we are here to enjoy, and making sure that the table is set in such a way that you continue to get the benefits. Aita andre gotaita, like anyone unforcefully have snatched something from someone. Ivaga I have a little sister ante NC, and she has a doll that I really like. I forcefully snatch it from her because that's my worldview, that I need to forcefully snatch it. I'm not going to earn it with good behavior by convincing my parents to get it. I'm just going to forcefully snatch it. But I'm also going to hit her so that she cannot come and take it back, and I can continue to take everything from her which I like, because she has that fear and she's wounded and all of that. So you get this perspective of forcefully snatching something. So there has been a shift in philosophy worldwide when the Abrahamic thought came. And this shift does not believe in meritocracy of any kind. It believes in conquest, in occupation, and in forceful taking of resources. Colonialism was a huge...
Sorry, just to push back, Rashmi,
Yeah.
not to divert your train of thought. There's so many young people over here whose friends have ended up in the US because they think that there is a system which is more meritocratic and opportunities are more open.
We'll get there. Okay. So then the entire question of meritocracy was gone. It was all based on occupation and subjugation. Colonialism is a huge example of that. You see slavery, you see, forceful occupation of indigenous people. It is all slavery and everything. It is basically that thought. When the Bharatiya people, used to do conquests everywhere, they would empower the citizens there. They would give good, governance to them. This was not about governance. The colonialism maybe, the Mughal expansions maybe. It was just about occupation and about taking all resources for themselves. So the world is evolving, and this philosophy, it starts to manifest in different ways. It was very crass back then. You could see it. You could see it tangibly. Oh, katkond togonoda. You could see it. It was very tangible. Now as we've evolved, this sentiment has become intangible. It has it has entered your subconscious. So it has come to a point where the, kallatana is not of your items that you can see, but it is of your thought, your freedom of thought, your freedom of expression, and your will to be meritocratic in society. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ that one person chooses to be a goldfish, one person chooses to be a goat one day. What is this? The person has been indoctrinated that it is okay not to compete out there in the real world with whatever you've got and to take what you deserve. You have to destroy this, system of meritocracy. That is where, this is kind of coming in. That's because a lot of, I think, towards the end of colonization, which was basically again physical grabbing of things, there was neo-colonialism. The table was set in such a way that the physical occupation ended, but every marketplace was placed in such a way that it would only benefit the ruling class, the West. India was reduced, its education system was destroyed to a point that we could only do call center jobs for their big companies. So again we are doing ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಮಣ್ಣೆತ್ತುವ ಕೆಲಸ to them, menial jobs. You're basically doing, even our manufacturing is very menial. We don't do high-tech manufacturing, nothing. We make, if they're making a laptop, we probably, make screws and bolts for them here, or the, aluminium casing. Contract manufacturing. Assembly. Basically just that much we do. We either do assembly or we do basic things. The cream is always there. ಆಯ್ತಾ, ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೊಂದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಈಗ ಟೊಮ್ಯಾಟೊ ಗ್ರೋ ಮಾಡೋರಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ, ಟೊಮ್ಯಾಟೊ ಅನ್ನು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ದ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಹೂ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್, ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಮನಿ ದೇ ಮೇಕ್. You know this, right? This entire vegetable market crisis, So that is the basic, setup. So the table is set in such a way that we are always growing tomatoes and they're always selling tomatoes at a very high price based off of our backs. So this comes from that initial philosophy of taking, subjugating and exploiting. This was post physical occupation across the world ended. Adra nantra ee trend ittu. So ee trend alli it is a, what do you say, conduit between physical and the intangible, tangible and the intangible world. You can still see something tangible that is being stolen from you, but it is still in some way intangible. It is your efforts which are being unfairly taken. The world has evolved more now. So as you keep evolving, the methods also have to keep changing, alla? Yakandre, we have also empowered ourselves. We are in a position to meritocratically overcome all these global market forces and become self-sufficient and to break away from all of these chains. So the way in which we are controlled also has to be changed. You can't still control us with the same old methods. The first method was to chain us physically. Then it was to chain us psychologically, in a way that, education system is broken, society is broken, you still end up doing jobs which are thrown at you. But now you can't control us like that. You need new methods to control us. So that need for control in order to remain superior without participating in a fair match. Fair match as in a meritocratic race is where this entire idea of wokeism, new social order comes in. All it is doing is feeding into that global market force which was established as a result of the new age philosophy which came, that we are all humans here, we are all here to enjoy, and we can enjoy however we want to. One life that you only live once, YOLO. So you're only here once, so all you have to do is enjoy, and you can do anything you want to.
And enjoy the way they tell you to enjoy.
And enjoy the way they tell you to enjoy. Anything you want to in order to do that. So that, that change in philosophy caused all of this. So as Bharat, what is really necessary for us to break this? It is simple, it is decolonization. We need to stop looking at the West for directions, for directives on what to do. We need to reclaim who we are to the core, that we are not people, who are here to somehow grab onto things unfairly. We are not going to participate in a meritocratic race. And the problem is that we are not even adopting their principles for face value. We are half adopting it. Because they didn't completely replace our education system. They broke it. So they half replaced it. In a way that we come out broken, always eager to, look at what they're trying to tell us, but at the same time not smart enough to understand the true intention with which it came to us. So Ivaga Surbhi ಅವರು told, a lot of people in our own age group have gone to America, Europe. In fact, I studied from the University of Oxford. I'll be a hypocrite if I say that, I didn't go abroad to study. I also went there, and we think that it is more meritocratic, it's more fair anta. That is because, boss, they destroyed our education system. The fair education system that we are talking about probably was last seen in Bharat in the 10th century, 9th century, 8th century. That's it. So I think the best that we have right now in this broken world order is to somehow subscribe to that. So that reclamation is necessary. The need for decolonization is more urgent than ever, because this need for control by the global market forces, idu nirantara. And they're going to do it in newer forms as the world changes, as we evolve as human beings. That evolution will not stop. We are not going to still be stuck in a time and frame where control can be shown with physical occupation. It needs to keep evolving. And it has evolved to psychological control. And wokeism is basically that psychological tool which has come in. And it preys on your morality. So ಇದು virtue signaling, morality ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಸುರ್ಭಿ ಅವರು. We humans, we are fundamentally good people. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೆ if something bad is happening, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇದು ಪಾಪ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತದೆ, ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಗೋ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ if a old woman comes to us asking for money, ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡುವ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಒಂದು 10 ರೂಪಾಯಿ 20 ರೂಪಾಯಿ 50 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. Though we know that they're a part of a well organized gang which exists in every city who make crores every month. We know that. ಆದ್ರೂ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ when they come in front of our face, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇದು ಅಂತ we feel. That goodness within us has been weaponized. So what wokeism does is it weaponizes social evils. ನಮ್ಮ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ evils ಇದೆ. Racism is an evil. Women empowerment has been an evil. Not in Indian society. We've always considered women to be Shakti. But ನೀವು abroad, West ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ, women have been reduced to their homes. Women have been considered as less. ಇವಾಗ University of Oxford is 1000 years old. 1000 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯಿತು. Until 100 years ago, women were not allowed. Whilst in Bharat you have great women like Gargi, who were enlightened and who were educated back in those early centuries. So ಈ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಈವಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ವೆಪನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೀಂಗ್ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಟು ಯು ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಟೆರಬಲ್ ಫೇಸ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಸ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಔಟ್. You need to say that it's terrible and you need to say it morning, afternoon, evening. And that's the only thing you're going to do.
And something unfair has happened to you.
And something unfair has happened to you as well by extension. Something unfair has happened to you and to me. And we are going to cry about it all day. We are not going to empower ourselves. We are not going to get educated. We are not going to, push through those circumstances and we are not going to come out. We are all born differently. Some of us may be born in more privileged families than others. And ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೇನ್ ನಮ್ ಪರಂಪರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಟಾಟ್ ಟು ಅಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ there's a whole karmic cycle ಅಂತ that that we are ನಿರಂತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ and that ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದು ನಂಗೆ ಇದು ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ we are not going to start blaming everybody. Instead we are going to work on ourselves and we have to come out. We are never going to use discrimination as an excuse not to excel. So this is the core of our philosophy. The exact opposite is the core of wokeism and the New World Order and the Abrahamic philosophy. I am here in an underprivileged family, they are there in a privileged family, and they're committing a crime against me. And I'm going to do everything, every day, to make sure that I grab it from them or I call out and make them feel terrible about it. So this is the basic, difference in worldview. And somehow, because of social media, technology, we have half-baked adopted that. And somehow, we have half-baked realized what we know. So we are not as, as worse off as the American society today. But it won't take long for us to get there until and unless we realize who we truly are and we espouse decolonization, that is breaking those shackles, literally, of dependency of on that thought. And those are my concluding words.